Welcome to another edition of Believe in the Bronx, the end of spring training. Let's get ready for opening day edition. Pete Caldera, still here in Florida. I'm flying out today. Mike Stanton back in the studios. And Mike, it's always an exciting time, opening day. And thought we'd go over some of the things we're excited for and things we're a little worried about heading into 2023.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for fans, for players, for organizations. What's the old saying? Hope springs eternal. That's really what's going on right here. And, there's a lot of things people need to understand exactly. This is a difficult time of the year for players, okay? Just to give you a little insight in what's going on. Yes, there's players that don't know where they're going. They're not sure where they're going to be playing. They don't know where they're going to live. If they have a family, they have to figure out the logistics. But even the players, the veteran players that know that they're going to New York, if you don't own a place in New York, you got to find a place to live. You got to do all the logistics of the travel. What am I going to do with my vehicle? All these kind of things are going through the players' minds, and you really don't get into a good routine until like 2 to 3 weeks into the regular season.
Yeah. You remember your first opening day? Is that still a vivid memory?
I do. That would be 1990. Now, unfortunately, at the time, I was going through, and I hadn't said anything yet. I was going through some shoulder issues. And so it wasn't as happy a time as it could have been. But yes, I absolutely remembered. That was Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta.
Wow. And the Yankees will be opening up in the Bronx against the San Francisco Giants. Things we're excited about, I think right off the bat, Mike, when you see a rookie, especially a very much heralded rookie, a guy who's been their number one prospect for a while, and Anthony Volpe, come into spring training, 22 games of AAA experience only, and he comes in and wins the job outright.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think a lot of people expected him to start at Yankee Stadium with just those that limited AAA experience. The fact that he came out and did everything he possibly could to win this job out of camp and beat out IKF and Oswald Peraza. Kind of speaks volumes of what they think about this kid and how he performed so far, and all the anticipation of seeing a 21-year-old back at shortstop at Yankee Stadium. That's quite a thing.
Yeah, he's gonna get quite the ovation when his name does get announced there in Yankee Stadium, because he's absolutely deserved this. This is going into this. You remember Booney was talking about how this is a competition, and we're all like, well, yeah, it's really between a couple guys, but Volpe being the young guy, still having options. Really, is he really got a shot? Well, the answer is yes. He wins the game, the job outright, and that is a special time. You don't see, and this is across the league, you don't see rookies come out of spring training winning jobs very often, especially not at shortstop, especially not in New York, really, especially not in the Bronx. The last time we saw that, Hall of Famer Derek Jeter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, there are a lot of comparisons, in character and personality and obviously position with Jeter. You don't want to heap that on the kid, but
right.
Talking to scouts and just watching his that 30-game Grapefruit League schedule, it was really impressive. He pretty much made every play at shortstop. There wasn't a charging in the hole, going to his left, going to his right.
Right.
Strong arm, quick release. Could even turn the double play at second base. The handful of times he played over there, that was not an issue for him. The offensive package this guy showed. What was most impressive to me was the 9 walks he drew in camp. And he'd have an at bat where you struck him out on a slider. If you saw that pitch again, that same pitch from that same pitcher, he could jump on it, he could recognize it, and often did some damage with it. He had over 1,000 OPS in this camp, and he can run. He's got base stealing ability, and Aaron Boone is planning on batting him in the 9th spot on opening day, and possibly keeping him there for a while. Now,
perfect.
He could be a future leadoff hitter. He could be a future middle of the order hitter. But I think the 9th spot is probably a comfortable spot to put him in and let him be that kind of second leadoff hitter in front of guys like LeMahieu and Judge
Mhm.
batting 1 and 2.
Well, and being in the ninth spot is kind of a leadoff spot anyways. Just simply, you're just not going to get as many at bats, and that's exactly where he should be. To tell you the truth, and again, we don't want to put too much pressure on him. We want to let him develop at the big league level. He's a more polished player than Derek Jeter was. Derek Jeter was not a good defensive player. Had a bunch of errors in the minor leagues. Had a bunch of errors in that first year, but the character is there, the maturity is there, and with Volpe, it's really going to be fun to watch him develop. And I like the idea of putting him at the bottom of the lineup. Try and take his listen. You're going to be opening day shortstop for the New York Yankees. There's going to be pressure in that, just in making the opening day roster, much less being in the lineup. So you want to take as much pressure off the young man as you can. So Booney's doing exactly what he should do. Put him at the bottom of the lineup and leave him alone. Don't even really talk about him. Let him just do his thing. But especially defensively, I think he is much more advanced than Derek was at this point in his career.
Yeah, it's interesting, and they both have that kind of winning pedigree.
Yeah.
That was innate to Jeter, obviously, but you saw that develop and pretty quickly. Winning a World Series championship is his first year in the Bronx and the Rookie of the Year award. But with Volpe, he's won a state title. He's led a team there. He's been on gold medal USA under 18 teams. He's performed at a high level in a lot of spotlight events, and that's what got the scouts' attention. That's what made him a first-round draft pick. And coming out of New Jersey, these kids don't play as much as the kids in California and Florida and in the Latin American countries. So this
even
is
down here in Texas.
So you're talking about a guy who he's got special stamped on him. And that's a word that you hear from scouts and executives when they talk about him.
And I think when you look at him and compare him to Derek, I think that there was still some question marks about Derek Jeter defensively. I think offensively they felt okay. He needed to develop. I mean, we've seen the rookie cards of how tall and skinny Derek was, but the athleticism was there. It's the same thing with Anthony. There's no question about that. But him going through all of the USA baseball, all of the all of the amateur baseball that he did, and getting the notoriety that he did, he was already playing pressure baseball. So I think that's all gone to his maturity. But it's we've also seen young players that have wilted under that same pressure. So I think you have to give it to Anthony and say, okay, he's dealt with the pressure. He's excelled in those situations. Now, the pressure he's been on is going to be nothing compared to what he's going to have to do in Yankee Stadium with the pressure of being the shortstop in the Bronx. But I think that you feel pretty good about where he is mentally and about how he's going to approach this, and just go out there and let his athletic ability shine.
Yeah, and now you got to think he's up here and he's here to stay. But you always wonder with the Yankees and the pressure to win. I mean, the what if scenarios. If he's struggling in the first 4 weeks of the season, and Oswald Peraza is at AAA batting 300, there's going to be that pressure to to stay in the lineup, and sure, perhaps some pressure even on the front office to what do you do there? Do you just let him develop and go through some of these
you got to struggle.
Growing pains.
You got to let him struggle.
Because every player goes through them.
And listen, you can't. You don't want to put the what ifs or the but at the end of the statement. You're the starting shortstop, but if you struggle for 3 weeks, we're going to pull that's not. That Brian Cashman, this organization has been through this before. They're not going to. They're not going to panic. And listen, to tell you the truth, if they put him in the 9 hole, if this team is really looking for substantial offense from that position in the lineup, they're probably in trouble. They probably have other issues. So, I think that he's there at least for, I'll give him 2 months, maybe longer than that. But I don't think he's really going to struggle. Now, I'm not saying he's going to hit 300. The key isn't going to be the numbers he puts up. It's going to be how he reacts to the struggles. Because listen, hitting the slider in spring training and hitting the slider in regular season is different. It's not the same thing. Pitchers are going to bear down a little bit more. When you put the second deck on the stadium, now all of a sudden things get ramped up a little bit more. Velocity plays a little bit more. The bite on the slider and the breaking ball, the changeup is a little bit better. But we know that this kid has the mental wherewithal to put up with this guy, to put up with these struggles. So it's not going to be whether he struggles or not. It's going to be how he reacts to those struggles.
Yeah, and certainly he's. This is a kid who's very confident in a quiet way about his ability, and plays the game with an energy and an enthusiasm,
yeah,
and a constant smile that really is infectious. And that's what really makes this an optimistic time for both Volpe and the Yankees. Very, very exciting that you're going to see a 21-year-old at shortstop. The other things I think you can be excited about, Garrett Cole, the ace, came through spring training. Looks like he's, ready to be in the Cy Young, category again in 200 innings. Aaron Judge had an excellent spring coming off a historic season. The exception of Harrison Bader in their starting lineup, they have the guys that they anticipated being in. Bader with the oblique maybe comes by mid-April. But the things you worry about, and it starts with the starting pitching with 3 guys on the IL, and Montas, who you may not see all year or perhaps in the second half. Severino and Rodon could miss 3 or 4 starts right off the bat. And now you're into the starting pitching depth of an organization that was thin in that area to begin with.
Right.
So I think that's the number one concern right off the bat here, Mike.
Yeah, and there's a couple relievers that are on the shelf also, but that's going to be where it is. I mean, it is. How do you win in baseball? Okay, you're not going to beat teams into submission, and we know that this team has, at times, has been a tremendous offensive team. Second half last year, they really struggled, except for Aaron Judge. You're going to have to pitch. It's going to have to be run prevention. So they're going to have somebody step up. And hopefully, Rodon, it is just a couple months or just a couple starts. This is something that's not going to flare up again. We'll just have to wait and see. But, at this point, everybody's tied for first place. And so you just don't, the old saying, you can't win the division in April. You can lose it. And what they need to do right now is just get healthy as quickly as they can, go out and, try and play. I mean, you want to win every game, but, when you still are going through injuries and you're trying to get completely healthy as a roster, you really have to look at it and go, okay, if we can play 500 through April until we get healthy, then we're going to be okay. I think there was the one team, I think the Atlanta Braves way back in the 80s. Maybe they did win the division in the first month, but they only lost like a game or 2 or something crazy like that. That's not going to happen. It's only happened once. So, all you got to make sure is you don't bury yourself and you're trying not to dig out of a big hole and, that you've created in April, and you're still trying to dig out of that hole in late June into July.
Right. Well, I mean, even last year's Yankees, they got off to what looked like an historic start.
Yeah, that's right.
Over the first 2.5, 3 months. And, they had to use all of that capital just to get them to the finish line, basically, with a rough second half. Now, you've got a rotation now that has to rely on guys like Domingo Germán, Clark Schmidt. Johnny Brito wasn't a name we talked about much going into this camp, but he looks like he's got to be pressed into the starting duty now. He's had a pretty good camp. I mean, Germán and Schmidt have as well, but these are guys that also might have been bullpen pieces for you. And as you mentioned, Trevino and Canely are already on the shelf until about mid-May. There's always other injuries that pop up. I didn't think that if you're sitting there as Brian Cashman, look, you're always looking for upgrades and you're always looking for possibilities to improve your team. But I don't think he expected to be searching for pitching this early in the 2023 season. So you never know what may happen there. But they expended a lot of trade capital just to get 2 guys, Frankie Montas and Scott Effross, who may not pitch all year. Efros, the reliever that they got from the Cubs last year, had Tommy John surgery. So you're already into your pitching depth at the starting and the relieving levels, and you used a lot of your young capital to get some of these guys last year. So I think the Yankees are in a really tough position there. They're going to have to get some of these guys healthy and quick.
They are, and it's unfortunate they're having to go through this right now. This is supposed to be one of the best teams in the American League, and I think they will be. But you hate that your big offseason acquisition, he's not there at the start. You've got other guys that there's big question marks about, and you hate the fact that you're having to dip into that depth before the season even starts. We're still at the end of spring training here, opening day in a couple days. So it's unfortunate, but it's the hand they're dealt. They have to deal with it. And, right now, that's why I'm saying you just tread water, try and play about 500 at least until you can get healthy. But hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, those guys don't have any setbacks, and they are coming back either the end of April or the middle of May. And then hopefully from there, they're good for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And when you talk about trade possibilities too, I mean, this team still has a surplus of infielders, and Gleyber Torres has 2 years of control left, including this season.
Right.
I mean, a guy could potentially be moved at some point this season to help their pitching. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, you wonder, what his standing is on this team as a super utility guy, but they also have a guy that does that in Oswald Cabrera. And Cabrera could frankly wind up as the regular left fielder if Aaron Hicks stumbles again. Now, Hicks has had a good spring. He's really thrived, in the sense of there's no more position player out in short right field to take away potential hits. That'll help Hicks and Anthony Rizzo especially. But Cabrera could wind up being your left fielder. You wonder about the production out of third base. Now, Josh Donaldson's had a good, productive, and healthy spring. He was a Gold Glove caliber third baseman last year, but really struggled at the plate. And the fans at Yankee Stadium in the first 0 for 4 days, were one of those guys. And
he's going to hear it. He's going to hear it. There's no doubt about it. But to tell you the truth, this is a very, very difficult time to make a trade. We don't see trades at the beginning of the season very often. In the next day or two, there have already been a couple, veteran pitchers that can opt out of spring training because they're not going to make the roster. There may be some options there. We'll have to wait and see if cash can go there. But as far as trades are concerned, I think they have to hold on to everybody right now, just simply because of what the injury history of this team is. You look at last year, my goodness, if there was ever a description of an MVP, it was Aaron Judge, because that team does not make the playoffs, much less go deeper in the playoffs without Aaron Judge last year. So, I think that, they have to just hold on to everything right now. And we know that Brian Cashman has been doing this for so long. He is not going to panic in this situation. He might be losing sleep, but he's not going to panic. He's going to make sure that whatever move they make is going to be one that isn't going to be just for right now. It's also going to be for, later in the season, maybe even the future.
Yeah. You worry about the balance of this lineup too. I mean, there's really only one, tried and true left-handed hitter in this lineup in Rizzo. You've got Hicks and Cabrera who are switch hitters, and there'll probably be just two lefty hitters in that opening day lineup and throughout the year.
I'm not really concerned with it all that much. Yeah, you would like to have another left-handed hitter, but just to have another left-handed hitter, it would have to be the right left-handed hitter. Yeah. But I still think, the last time you and I were together, we talked about DJ LeMahieu. I think he's the key. I think if you can get him his at-bats on a daily basis, I think that's going to make the whole lineup better, just simply because, he is an on-base machine. And if he can do, just be DJ LeMahieu, don't need him to be superstar or anything like that, but just get on base, I think that, there's going to be more opportunities for the middle of that lineup to drive in runs. And then, you obviously you want to keep your fingers crossed about Josh Donaldson. he's not. I know Yankee fans want him to go away. He's not going anywhere, at least not right now. He's going to play third base. And listen, he plays with an attitude. There's a lot of personality there. But if he's performing on the field, let him show that personality. Whatever you want to do, go out there and put some numbers up offensively, because he's going to be good defensively. But yeah, there was, second half of the season really, really struggled, along with, most of that lineup.
Yeah. $29 million too. He's making this year. That's a hard contract to move.
Right.
But you mentioned LeMahieu. He's had a healthy, productive spring. Looks like he's over that foot issue that plagued him.
Fingers crossed.
Second half last year. So certainly, going well as you move into this regular season. So that's going to wrap it up for us. Excited about opening day. Stay with us all season. Believe in the Bronx. Mike Stanton, Pete Caldera. Mike, happy opening day.
Same to you, and enjoy. Hopefully the weather's okay there. It will be okay there in New York. I think we'll be fine down here in Houston, since we do have a roof over our heads.
Great. Well, weather's been fantastic in Florida, but different animal up in New York. We'll see you in the Bronx. Take care, everyone.